My name's Jacob Mills. I run McDonald farm stand. We're in Danville, Vermont, right on Route 2. We have a seasonal farm stand there, open normally from July to October, diversified produce. And we've been doing it for 10, 15 years now.
Today's episode comes to you from Danville, Vermont, where we visit with Jacob Mills of McDonald Farm Stand. We start off the show with a tour of a newly built 30 by 40 wash pack space. Then continue through several high tunnels and talk about spinach, tomatoes, tulips, and more. We talk about field production as well as wrap up the episode with a brief tour of his sugar house and farm stand before they started boiling for the evening. I am your host, Andy Chamberlain, and I take you behind the scenes with growers who share their strategy for achieving the triple bottom line of sustainability. These interviews unravel how they're building their business to balance success across people, profits, and our planet. If this show has impacted you, I'd love to hear it via email or publicly as a review in the podcast app. The Farmer's Share is supported by the Vermont Vegetable and Berry Growers Association and the Ag Engineering Program of the University of Vermont Extension. If you enjoy the show and want to help support its programming, you can make a one-time or a reoccurring donation on our website by visiting thefarmershare.com/support.
We built this, couple in 2019, I think.
Okay, yeah.
No, 2020. It went up, and kind of slowly, sort of added on. Put a little, some sinks, and just a place to wash greens that's somewhat sanitary.
Yeah.
Kind of everything comes in here before it goes out to market throughout the summer. We could go around in here a little bit if you want.
Sure. How big is this building?
It's 30 by 40.
Okay.
I bought it off a guy up in Norton, and he bought it, never put it up, and wanted to sell it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got a pretty good deal on it, and it's not exactly what I wanted, but the price was right.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can find a kit, right?
Yeah.
Basically what it is.
Yeah, and it's pretty bulletproof, pretty low maintenance. We had kind of throughout, when building this, I got funding from NRCS to put a spring in up above the farm here.
Uh-huh.
So like all the water, it's kind of a mess in here, but like all the water comes in here. There's an 1.5-inch line coming down from the spring.
Yeah. And
then all the water's plumbed out to the greenhouses from here.
Well, that's nice to have a central system for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this is a spring down, just a shallow well down here that we dug. So this pump will pull, it's less than 30 feet, so it'll pull water up to here. And this is kind of just what heats the building, a wall hung boiler.
Yeah.
There's radiant heat in here. And it does domestic hot water too.
That must have been nice.
Yeah.
Adding radiant in here.
Yeah, I did it when I didn't know if I was going to use it. I did it when we poured the floor and just to have it in there. And
yeah.
These wall hung boilers were pretty cheap to put in, all things considered, and they don't take up much room. And
yeah.
I did most of it myself. I hired a plumber to come and hook up all the propane, but
yeah,
I did most of all the plumbing myself, so that kind of saved a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, utility, washer dryer, put a bathroom in for people. I don't know, cabinet for seeds and stuff. There's a loft upstairs that we put all our boxes. Just like packaging, bags, syrup containers.
Yeah.
We put a little kitchen area in. It's just kind of nice to have. We use the sink a lot just for washing our hands and stuff. The stove probably wasn't really worth it, but it's there.
Cook lunch.
Yeah,
there you go.
I only cook lunch in there sometimes.
I make pickles.
This table I picked up used off a guy. It's kind of pretty much, we sanitize it and bag all our greens, and we bag carrots on it. We pretty much use it for about everything. We didn't really have much, and I want something stainless.
Yeah, it's an awesome table. It's huge.
Yeah.
And having the edge on it, to keep
the
contents contained seems real slick.
Yeah, we can put about 100 pounds of greens on it, really. Give or take to bag.
Yeah.
So, this is a walk-in. I built this. Had it spray foamed. One of my friends spray foams. We store stuff in here. I went back and forth about putting a cool bot in versus not, and it was expensive, but I didn't go with a cool bot.
Yeah.
I didn't want to cut a big hole in the wall. I don't think it would quite have the capacity to really keep this cool. Like in the summer, this thing stays at 35 degrees, 36 degrees.
No fluctuation.
Yeah. This thing was full of carrots this winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's we have a few left, and they're not looking great, but we're picking through them. So, yeah, Roy Refrigeration did all the like condensing unit and all that. I kind of built the door and the hinges and all of it. Really, it's a little homemade, but
no, you did a good job with it. And that's a huge door.
Yeah, I wanted to be able to get pallets in and out of it.
Yeah. How big is the cooler?
I think it's 12 by 15.
Yeah.
Right around there. 12 by 13. It's actually held up better than I thought it might. It's all stayed fairly straight and nice.
Yeah.
So.
You remember how expensive the refrigeration stuff was?
Ballpark, the condensing unit and evaporator was about $8,000.
Yeah.
It was a couple thousand to spray foam it.
Yeah.
I don't know, to do the FRP board and whatever else not, probably another $1,000, $1,500.
You know, doing it yourself for a cooler that size, if you were to buy one like that, that's not that bad in the scheme of things.
Yeah, I think it was around 10 grand is what I had into it.
Yeah.
And you can't move it, it's there. That's the only quirk about it, but it's fine. It works pretty good.
Yeah.
It's made a big difference. I don't know, I got off Mark and that Jericho Settlers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I've seen that then. That's a familiar unit.
Used, but
yeah, it
was, I don't know, the price was right on it. We had a shitload of carrots this fall and it made a big difference. Yeah, carrots and potatoes.
Yeah, this machine has seen a lot of roots. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, this spray tables, it's fine. We spray off and wash a lot of stuff on them. Having a drain in here, it's pretty huge. It just drains out over into the swamp more or less.
I like the big doors. You can just open it up and let in the air.
Yeah, and a lot of the time in the summer I'll leave them open at night and close them during the day when it's hot and it stays nice and cool in here.
Nice.
I just got these things. I don't know. A farmer had them.
Yeah, what are those?
I'm gonna use them to wash greens, or I'd like to. I want to get away from plastic tanks. I just don't really like them. They were from the old bag balm factory in Lindenville.
That's awesome. That's quite the cool history.
Yeah, and they're just like stainless. I'm probably going to have to cut the legs down a little bit and lower them, but they're just nice stainless tubs.
Yeah, they are.
And I didn't give too much for them, so it's...
Nice find.
Yeah, they're still a little grungy, but they're...
Well, and
I don't know.
The nice thing is they're big enough to be useful and have elbow room and stuff, but they're not going to take all day to fill up.
Yeah, no, either. I think they're like... I don't think they're quite 100 gallons.
Yeah.
They have a nice valve on the bottom, which I was pretty happy about. I gave a couple $100 for them. So
good find.
Yeah. No, I'm hoping to get away from the Rubbermaid cow tubs.
Yeah.
I just find them really hard to clean. They're always like kind of like we bleach them and soap them, and it's just I don't know. They don't ever clean up quite as well as I'd like them to. So
unlike this here, it's all hygienically designed, stainless. Fittings and whatnot,
even the valve inside was pretty like the inside of the tank was pretty like just clean and nice.
Right.
So
yeah, you can't beat that.
I don't know. Hopefully they all work out all right. They're a little high, but
like you said, it's easy to modify the legs.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to get those up and rolling for this summer.
Yeah. I
just got them the other day, so. I've kind of just been trying to get them clean. I'm probably gonna rent. They're just like greasy. I clean this one really well, but you can still see like there's just like They're just like kind of greasy in spots.
Well, you said it was bag bomb.
Yeah,
so
that's what it was. Like even
like
like
Vaseline.
this is like, yeah, that's what it feels like is Vaseline more or less. It's stainless. It'll clean up eventually.
Yeah, right. You find the right stuff.
Yeah, we could kind of like this storage container. I don't know. We got this a couple years ago, or last summer, and I just kind of it's where we keep all the weed mat and a lot of the totes. It's kind of a collect-all, more or less. It's not great, but it works.
Well, every farm can't have enough
It's better than
sheds.
keeping it outside, is my thought. We just kind of keep like all the hand tools in here, and
Were these things from the
those were
tanks?
on the top of the tanks.
Huh.
With the beaters, because they had bars on the inside,
Yeah.
and they actually had they're water jacketed, so they have heating elements in them,
Oh.
or they had heating elements in them, so they could keep the bag balm warm in the tubs while they're mixing it.
That's cool.
Yeah, because bag balm is originally was sheep fat and the other ingredients. So it's lanolin, I think, is what it's called.
Yes. Yeah, lanolin.
So they had to warm it up so it wasn't as
Yeah.
consistency. But yeah, you can see in here, there's kind of this I built some shelves, and it's kind of a mess right now, but got tools and welder and torches and I don't know, some harvest containers. It's a place to try to keep, I don't know, I try to keep all the drip tape fittings in here and the plastic mulches, and I built some storage racks for plumbing and electrical, and yeah, just try to keep things somewhat organized. It works.
It's motivating, honestly. Like, this is a very useful space.
Yeah, all this shit was in there, and it was driving me nuts. It was just like too much.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to have that be more just like food grade, where we just wash and pack. I didn't want a bunch of other
Keep the food and the
exactly
fuels and
all the oil
tools and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
So yeah.
makes me want a shipping container to clean stuff out of the
It
barn.
It was just like the cheapest thing. It was going to be cheaper than building something. I could move it if I wanted. It was just like I think I spent it was $4,000, and I had a couple $100 into materials. I kind of had the stuff for the shelves, and it's just a place to keep things kind of high and dry.
Yeah, and then you're done.
Yeah. Yeah,
$4,000 and it's ready to use.
Exactly. They dropped it off, and I could start filling it more or less.
Build some shelves, spend $100 on a couple LED light strips, and then you got.
I know. I need to get some light. We can go out here. This field it used to be pretty wet. We put some drainage in it, and did some work to it. It used to kind of look like, it was just kind of like a low-lying pasture, more or less. Mm-hmm. I would say it's filled with strawberries, more or less, right now. This was 2 plantings, 2 years worth. So half of it is 2 years. Well, this will be the second year, and it'll be the first year picking for those berries.
Half an acre?
It's almost an acre of berries, a little shy of an acre, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I think it's about 12,000 plants, give or take.
Matted row?
Plasticulture.
It is plasticulture. Okay, just covered with straw right now.
Yeah, with weed mat in between.
Okay.
I have grown strawberries for 4 years, and I go back and forth if I want to keep growing them or not.
Yeah, every strawberry grower kind of is like that.
But the first year I didn't have good luck with them. The second year I did plastic weed mat and strawed them like this.
Yeah.
I had really good luck. The third year I didn't straw them, and it wasn't good. All the berries were sitting on the plastic, and wherever they touched the plastic, they wanted to rot.
Okay. Yeah.
So the straw helps protect them in the winter, but it also gives them a really nice like medium to sit on when they start fruiting.
Right.
Is almost more so than protecting them in the winter. Mm-hmm. Is what I've found.
Just the cool softness of the straw.
Yeah, it's really nice when you're picking too, in the rows. Like the weed mat's not bad, but it's nice when you're picking. It's just clean.
Yeah.
It's easy. It doesn't do much for weed control at all. I don't grow them organically, but we don't really spray them at all. I try to rotate the fields, and I do some mustard fumigation before we plant.
Okay.
I've been trying to, experimenting with it. Yeah, this is the first year on this field. So
They plugs or bare root?
bare root from Norse Farm. Yeah, just a variety of different from early to late season.
In regular plastic or bioplastic?
Regular.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've thought about going to 8 mil bio, but I'm trying to get 2 or 3 years out of them, and the bio just doesn't hold up.
Sure. Yeah, no, not. It's designed not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, the weed control is pretty good. If you do a good job laying the plastic and putting the weed mat down there, it's very little weeding that goes along with it.
Yeah, I like that.
The hardest thing with growing these is clipping runners. Keeping up with the runners on them throughout the summer. I normally don't plant them till like the 4th of July.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So a little
just
later
to kind of help delay.
Yeah,
that a bit.
and if you plant them a lot earlier than that, they get too big, because you only want like 3 crowns, from what I've been told, going into that first summer, and then the second year or the third year they're in the ground, they're like 5, 6, 7, 8 crowns, and then I normally just dig them up.
How are you holding the landscape fabric down or weed mat down? Staples?
Ground staples. Yeah. I had there's a couple different kinds. These, just the single ones.
Oh, interesting.
They don't work great. I wouldn't recommend them.
Haven't seen them, don't want to.
No, they're fine. If they're rusty, they're okay, but when they're new, they don't hold down quite well enough.
Fair enough.
But just the like 8-inch, I don't know, the 8-inch ground staples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully these will turn out all right this year.
Yeah, well, they're
Hoping to
blanketed
do
in
a
the
lot
spring,
of
but
pick
they
your
look
own
good.
on this.
Yeah.
We direct and wholesale a little bit, but I have found that picking your own is where it's at with strawberries.
So you've been doing pick your own this
A little
way,
bit, yeah. The past couple of years we've done it and had an all right turnout.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot. Years in the past they've been in the field up the road from here, and it's been hard because it's like someone has to be up there. So
Yeah.
if they're down here, it'll be pretty nice. They can go to the farm stand, weigh them. Everything will be kind of here. It'll be a lot easier to manage down here than up the road. So, yeah,
Sweet.
time will tell.
Yeah. It's always an experiment. A nice draining field here with a little bit of a slope.
Yeah, it used to be like, it looked kind of like that. There's a bunch of little shrubs starting to grow up in it. It wasn't great. And part of that, the spring is about 500 feet kind of up that way, so it all gravities down to here. And part of putting that spring in, we put a ditch along the top side and made this field so it's tillable or
revived
workable.
it again,
Yeah. Yeah, the other nice thing about this refrigeration unit is it doesn't put any heat in the building.
Yeah.
It was a little more expensive to like have the exterior unit, but it was well worth it. This is a chunk of asparagus. It doesn't look like much in between these two greenhouses. It's kind of a weedy mess. It has been.
Asparagus always.
We're working on it. I don't know if we'll ever get them controlled, but yeah, this greenhouse was the third one I built. We do some tulips for cut flowers.
Oh.
We try to get them for Easter. I don't know if we're going to get it this year or not. But regardless, they will.
Easter moves around, the spring moves around.
Yeah, it's never an issue selling them.
Right.
The other nice thing about tulips is they hold really well in the walk-in.
Oh.
They will hold like a couple weeks almost in the walk-in if you pick them before they're open. Yeah, some rows of spinach. That's the first planting of lettuce we've done. Planted that a few days ago. We'll pretty much do a planting once a week from here on out.
Really?
Yeah. This is all Salanova. In the spring, I pretty much just grow Salanova in these greenhouses.
How are you planting that? Transplants, direct seed?
Transplants, yeah. We grow them in, we start them in 10-20 trays, and in the greenhouses, we just transplant them.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that long to do a row. It takes about 12 trays to do a row, so 10 trays. Yeah, and so like this next week we'll we'll do another planting in here. And you'll see in the other greenhouses, I direct seed spinach, carrots, beet greens in the greenhouses.
You're making these beds with the BCS?
Yeah. I never used to, and I got one a couple years ago, and it saves a lot of time. I don't know if it's my favorite thing in the world.
How are you doing it before?
A broad fork.
Oh. Yeah, I
So-
can see where that would save some time.
Yeah, I got this used off a guy last year, I think, and it's made a big difference.
Yeah.
I actually don't till very deep either, at all. I don't think it's great for the soil to till real deep. Maybe like for tomatoes I will, but for greens I just spread amendments or compost or whatever we put on it and go 3 or 4 inches down, and it just makes a really nice seed bed.
Yeah.
It makes it really easy to direct seed. I use it outside a lot for direct seeded greens too. I pretty much grow
great.
everything on all our greens on 30-inch beds.
Yeah.
And use a quick cut harvester to harvest them. For now, that's kind of what works well.
Then once the spinach comes out in a few more weeks, will this turn to tomatoes?
Yeah, this one will probably end up being cucumbers.
Yeah. I
Um,
was just seeing all the strings that made me think of it.
yeah, this was tomatoes last year.
Yeah.
Cucumbers too. All the cucumbers in the greenhouses grow up. We have the tomatoes started, but they're not. We normally try to plant them beginning of April. This year probably would be fine pouring the heat into these, but
Yeah.
you don't know. It's kind of a gamble, really.
Now, I will say you're a unique one in having, we'll call it a bit of a head house attached to the greenhouse or a little garage shed space. How has that been?
It's pretty nice. Normally it's just full of stuff, but I've been trying to get it cleaned out and have it so it's decent. That was part of the reason for getting that storage containers. Everything ended up being in here. Sometimes it's hard to control the moisture. I don't like leaving equipment in here and stuff, but
Yeah.
we leave compost and the fertilizers seem to be fine if we keep them covered. It's just nice to have a little extra storage. It made it so there was more growing space in the greenhouse. Seems like a lot of them you just end up using the first 10, 12 to 10 feet to
For working space, yeah. What was your intent when you built that? Just for this sort of catch-all space?
Well, I was originally going to use this as kind of a prop house, and then it never really panned out that way. We just grew in the ground, and it's just kind of been just to have a little space.
Yeah.
When I built this, there wasn't I didn't have the wash pack building. There was no space really under cover down here. So we just needed a little shed, really,
Yeah.
to put stuff in, and even in the summer, just to get under out of cover if it's really raining, and
Right.
so it was kind of just as like a space to potentially use, but it's worked well. We had the shelves, and I
Yeah.
stored stuff in here.
Well, you can't have too much covered space.
No, no. I'd eventually. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Eventually, I'd like to have it kind of cleaned out, and it works pretty well. In the summer, we have it open. When we're harvesting stuff, it's pretty nice. We can back the gator like right into here and load stuff into it, and it works pretty well for that.
Yeah.
It's not sealed up quite as well as it should be. I'd like to insulate it a little bit, or just air seal it at some point. But all in good time.
Yeah.
This greenhouse, they're all ledgewoods, but that one is the standard height, so it's a little lower. I've had Ed build these ones a foot higher for me. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but I like how it gives you a little more room walking down the side of them. I think having a bigger mass of air helps with your just like temperature control sometimes.
What part of being taller makes it more difficult?
Putting strings up.
Oh, yeah.
Just like working in them a little bit. When they're low, they're pretty easy to like reach and just handle in a sense.
Of course, you're 6'2".
Yeah.
I'm on a ladder as it is. So.
Yeah. This is the second greenhouse we built. This is number 2 in a sense. It has spinach in it. kind of on it's on its way out. We're still picking it, but a lot of the spinach we hand pick. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never had great luck cutting it, to be honest. Outside, I've got it so we can cut it every once in a while, but
Like with the
with
the
a
quick
greens
cut.
cutter,
It's a see that extra foot of height just makes it feel a lot bigger.
yeah. No, I don't know. I kind of. He was fine with doing it. He just makes the ground post a foot taller.
Yeah.
It's a little more difficult building it too. Not a
Right.
lot, but it's definitely a little higher. And
Like you said, just putting in all those bolts are now, they're not at shoulder level, they're at head level.
yeah. This is the 5th one. I built this last year, and it's, I don't know, it's a work in progress. I planted this spinach last fall. It didn't germinate great. I don't know if it was seed or a water issue, kind of all the above. It's pretty wet down that end of the greenhouse. It doesn't drain real
Yeah,
well.
it looks wet in here. Or were you just irrigating?
Yeah, I had the water on since this morning. But there's some spinach coming. It's, like I said, it's kind of inconsistent.
Yeah.
There's kind of a nasty weed in here, and I don't really know what it is. It's this down here. Probably gonna cover it all up at some point, just like this. And I think it's a crest of some sort. It's like a
All
water
this
crest.
under your feet?
Yeah, like that. Like you see, it's nasty. It has like a thick root system.
Yeah.
But besides that, the weeds aren't terrible in here, for the most part. This house is really deficient on nitrogen. I put a lot of compost in here, and it wasn't, well, it was kind of homemade compost, and it still had a lot of organic matter in it, so it
Yeah.
hadn't broken down. So I'm hoping over the next couple years it will.
Even out a little bit.
Yeah, we've taken soil samples, and it's just deficient on nitrogen. It has a lot of all the other nutrients and minerals are there. It's just, which is pretty easy to supplement, really. So yeah, this one we'll end up pretty much in these greenhouses. We grow tomatoes and cucumbers in the summer. That's about it.
And overwintered spinach.
Yeah, and we'll do greens early on.
Yeah.
I've grown peppers in them in the past, but I haven't had good luck with it.
No?
No, so I'm gonna grow them outside this year. I'm gonna grow them on black plastic and try to get them started early.
Yeah.
And I might even put a roll cover over them. We'll see if it keeps acting like this, we're not gonna have to, but.
Yeah, right. I like that door.
Yeah, I got it. My uncle was getting rid of it, and I took it from him.
It's classy.
Yeah,
For a greenhouse door.
It's
heavy
nice.
duty.
It doesn't
Yeah.
rot. He had 2 of them. This one has one too.
Commercial grade aluminum glass door.
I can't have a bank, actually, I think. That's why it has this. You can tell if someone's stealing from the bank, you can tell how tall they are.
Get a height measurement.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna put a big door there? Is that the plan?
I'd like to, I think. I'm unsure. But yeah, I'd really like to put roll-up doors on the end of all these, but it's just...
Like a garage door or a plastic
Yeah,
roll-up? Or...
no, like a garage or a metal roll-up
Yeah.
door, or just something that seals up well. This one down here, we put sliders on, and I can't get them to seal up very well. I have a fair amount of work that all these... It seems like there's a lot of maintenance on greenhouses.
Well,
Just
yeah.
keeping the blower fans going, We had a bad hailstorm here last summer, and ever since that, none of these greenhouses have stayed inflated very well. It didn't like rip the plastic, but I think
Punctured
it
it?
like made enough little holes in it where they just like, see this one?
Like kind of peppered.
No, but see how it won't stay like nicely, and like
yeah.
see how they're not like, they should be like
They should be
full
Yeah.
like tight, and none of them, since we've had that hailstorm, I can't get any of them stay tight.
Huh.
So that one
Weird.
doesn't have a fan in it, but
Yeah.
this greenhouse we're getting ready for tomatoes. We're gonna plant tomatoes in this, like I said, in the beginning of April. Got the drip tapes pulled out. We just weed mat in between the tomatoes. I don't plant them in plastic or anything. We put them directly in the ground.
Yeah.
And then just weed mat right tight to them.
Right to them, yeah.
And it works pretty well. Yeah, it works.
That's how we do it too.
Yeah, we do a single row every foot.
Yeah.
We plant them every foot, and we don't graft either.
No.
We haven't had to, really. I pretty much preload all the beds. These are some carrots that never made it last fall. I don't know if they're going to. We've been giving them a little water, but I don't think they're going to really ever amount to anything.
They just didn't size up?
No, they're still small. Kind of ugly. I planted them late summer, and you're supposed to harvest them like around Christmas time is the goal, but that didn't happen. The propane furnaces, they will keep these houses warm unless it gets really cold out if they're sealed up pretty well.
So are you using those to heat the tunnels, or are you mainly using them for, early season protection?
No, when we plant tomatoes in here, it stays at 60.
Okay.
It stays above 60 all the time.
Yeah.
If you don't keep it above 60, it's hardly worth even putting any heat into them. In the winter, or not in the winter, in the fall, we'll use them. If we have a lot of greens in here and it's going to get real cold, I'll just set it at like 35.
Yeah.
Just to kind of protect them a little bit if necessary, but not much. I normally just use them for tomatoes in the spring is the main.
And when are you trying to get those planted in?
Beginning of April.
Yeah.
I don't know. I go back and forth about pushing it early. I don't have any heat in the ground. And I think where we are, if I don't have any heat in the ground, I can't get them in much before that, just because your soil temperature's not there. If your soil temp isn't there, it's pointless of heat in the air, really. Yeah,
and they got cold, wet feet. They're not going to want to go, and you can't heat the ground very well within hot air.
Eventually, I'd like to bury lines and heat the soil in one of these. I'm looking at building another greenhouse this summer. I think I want to go with a Harnois.
Yep.
And I'd like to put ground heat in that and a good sized furnace. And potentially plant tomatoes in the beginning of March.
Yep.
Have them in early March, like now.
Yeah.
Would be the goal, and get tomatoes to market early, because I could sell them. I think I have the markets for them, so.
I haven't heard of people regretting a decision on a Harnois.
No. Don't get me wrong, these are really nice. I like them. They're easy to put together, but the Harnois are just a little. I'd kind of like to try one. I want to see how they are. The one I'm looking at is 35 by 160.
That's a big one.
Yeah. My biggest reason of going with it is there's not wooden baseboards. They give you all the baseboards are metal and like a material that doesn't or decay over time.
Yeah.
Where the plastic connects is the same thing. I want a roof vent in it.
Yeah.
And they give you kits for the end walls. There's no wood in it. It's all metal and it's and that's the biggest reason is they just have all those options really. And I've seen a couple that I like the looks of. They're also I've been talking to the guy. They're shaped a little different too. It's more of like an oval than like a gable or a hip. But we'll see. Who knows? I don't know. The price point of them is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more. I don't know.
Are all these NRCS funded?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they have a cap on how much they cover?
Yeah, it's a square footage cost.
Okay.
So they'll give you, it's all square footage.
Right.
I'm still a beginning farmer, so it's if you're a beginning farmer, they have different like standards, I guess you could say that they have different pay prices on.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. It's not a lot different. Right. But I think a beginning farmer's, you have 10 years, more or less.
Right, by definition.
Yep.
So have you gotten a tunnel every year, essentially?
Every year but last year. Yeah. The guy who I used to deal with there was awesome. He was really good to deal with, and he retired. The new woman is, she's good. I've had a good relationship with her, and
that's good.
It's just different, it's change, which is fine, it happens.
Right.
She's actually working with me a lot. Like, she got me funding to put automatic roll-up sides on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
She said there's funding to put roof vents on them too for energy standards.
Huh.
Because you don't have to run exhaust fans, or it just helps like your ventilation. It's just like energy standards. If you automatic roll-up sides, it helps with energy in a sense.
Right.
It's more efficient.
Right, because it's a low-powered motor you're using to regulate your temperature rather than a high-powered exhaust fan.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm gonna put automatic roll-up sides on all these this summer, and that will make my life a lot easier.
Yeah.
When the weather sucks, it's miserable to run around, and I only have 5 of them, and it's a pain to run around and open and close them.
Even if you have one, it's not a joy when the thunder's coming.
Yeah, exactly. They all have, the sensors I've been looking into have like wind and weather sensors, so if it gets over if it's too windy, the side shut down.
Even just running over and hitting close.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty excited for that. I'm sick of these bars just rolling them up and down. So I was talking to the guy up to Harnois, and I don't remember the company, but he said that there's a company that deals with like ventilation, automatic roll-up sides, and vents and roof vents, and they will rent you the controller for $30 a month. They send you all the equipment to put the roll-up sides on, the controller. They send it all to you for a greenhouse for $30 a month.
Huh.
So I don't know. It's something. He said that it's a great program for the guy from Harnois, the sales rep that I've been talking to.
Yeah.
And it sounds like I guess if you had 10 of them, it'd be $300 a month. But he also said if anything breaks, you send it back to him. When you're done, you send it back to him. And I don't know. I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm gonna look into it, but if there's funding, I'm probably not gonna do it. I'll just own the stuff, and if it breaks, you deal with it, I guess. This is the oldest greenhouse. This one was built in 17, 16?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. There's spinach in these 4 beds I planted just the other day. This is where we used to wash and pack everything. Kind of on this end, and I sort of worked on digging up the stone and sort of trying to revamp it a little bit.
Get some growing space back.
Yeah. But yeah, we used to wash and pack everything in here. Had a little 3 tubs, and I don't know. It was miserable. It was hot. A lot of days were very, very hot in here. I don't know, I've been looking into some other ways of irrigating too, rather than drip tape. Especially for greens. I don't know. Sometimes I have mixed feelings about it, how well it actually works.
For greens, yeah, especially.
It's nice, it's efficient, but it's just, sometimes I feel as though it's a little inconsistent, even with 3 rows per bed. But this greenhouse has been a little bit of a struggle with weeds. Yeah, and these doors, they're awesome in the summer, but I can't get them to seal up well.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
Like there's always, on the sides, there's always a gap. And even like, I'm sure I could spend some time but like that. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah. They're big, they're on the inside.
Yeah.
Like, you can open them in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Because they don't seal up super tight, which is nice.
Yeah. I'm not trying to heat this one real early in the spring and stuff either, so it's pretty decent. This is kind of just some, garden area, really. They grow a fair amount of the greens here. It's close. It's easy. I'm probably going to cover crop most of this year.
Yeah.
It just has some weed pressure, and there's some weird diseases going on. I don't know, nothing that's bothering greens, but I planted some cut flowers over there and some sunflowers, and it really made they had like this weird mildew on it.
Oh, weird.
But I don't know, we've been growing stuff down here for a long, long time, and it always just gets manured or composted, and I never really have cover cropped it, so it just needs a rest.
Yeah. Is the shade from those trees a challenge in these beds?
No, not really. In the summertime, it's not bad.
That's good.
The worst thing is over there's some tamarack trees, and in the fall, the needles come off them. And like, I can't plant greens over there in the fall because the needles just
Cover them all.
Yeah, they do. They fill it. Like, you'll go to wash them, and it's just like friggin' tamarack needles everywhere.
Huh.
But yeah, originally this garden stopped at the edge of that greenhouse right there.
Mm-hmm.
This was kind of a junkyard, more or less, that my uncle had down here. There was some trees growing up in it. Most of where these greenhouses are looked like that.
Woods.
Yeah, it was just kind of like cut a long time ago, and it's starting to grow up.
Yeah.
So I had it stumped, and just slowly kind of cover cropped it and tried to build soil, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, this soil is awesome. It's probably saturated as all hell right now, but it's really fertile. You can see it's kind of a heavy, I don't know. It holds water really well. I don't know, like,
What did you roll over this with last? It's got an interesting pattern to it.
there's a roller on the back of the rototiller I have.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of makes it's like a packer.
Yeah.
I don't know if a packer, I don't even know what it's called. It's a roller. I'll show it to you. It's kind of interesting. It just sort of rolls, and it does make a cool pattern.
So where's the next tunnel gonna go?
I don't know. That's one of my biggest issues. I don't really know. I would really like to start clearing these trees at some point over here.
Yeah.
I don't want them to grow up and shade all this.
That's true. Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm concerned about.
Give
Every
yourself
year
a
they
bigger
get
buffer.
like bigger and bigger.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I'd like to do something for a little bridge on this brook, and to be honest, I'd love to put it over there, but it's just, I don't know. It's just gonna be a feat trying to get power and water and
Across the brook now.
yeah, and everything over there, and I don't know. Getting it all stumped and the soil fertility up is a lot.
A multi-year,
Yeah, it doesn't happen fast.
many effort.
No. So yeah, I don't know. We have kind of slowly grown over the years.
Yeah.
My uncle he owns a store down the road, and he buys a lot of stuff from us. I have an uncle that has a restaurant down in New London, New Hampshire, and he will take whatever we have.
Oh.
So that's pretty nice. Especially if it's not like great looking stuff. It can be kind of seconds or like ugly, or I don't know.
I'll take it.
Yeah, he takes it, and it's, like I said, they have a pretty busy restaurant.
So are those your primary markets?
And the farm stand.
Yeah. Farm stand, store, and a restaurant.
Yeah. We sell some to local restaurants too.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into big wholesale.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't think there's any money in it.
Right. I mean, you essentially got to cut your prices in half.
Yeah, I don't know. I've really, like, I wholesale some. My uncle has treated us, or treats us really well.
Fairly.
Yeah, and it's a good working relationship, you know. It's so yeah, I've tried to wholesale some, and I've thought about dealing with some distributors, but I don't know.
If you can do it direct
Yeah.
retail.
I'd rather
by all
just
means.
build the like markets right around here than try to have, I don't know.
Do you have much? Are there many other vegetable farms in this area?
Not much. There's
Doesn't
Joe's Brook
seem-
Farm.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a ton.
No, that's pretty much it. To be honest, there is not a farm stand from St. J to Montpelier on this road. There's not. Even if you keep going past, there's not much in St. J either.
Right.
And this is a busy, busy road.
Yeah, it is.
So in the summer, I don't know. I'd eventually like to build a new farm stand and kind of develop that a little more. I think it could do a lot more than it's doing now.
Yeah.
But we'll see. All in good time.
So when did you get started? How long have you been doing this?
Full time since 2018.
Okay.
18 or 19.
Yeah.
Full time. It was kind of a part-time thing. I mainly, when I was doing it part-time, grew pumpkins and corn.
Yeah.
some squash. Kind of this simpler, easier things,
Yeah.
more or less. And then it's kind of slowly diversified into more produce,
Yeah.
which is good. I like growing tomatoes. We grow a fair amount of garlic, tomatoes,
Yeah.
or garlic, onions, I don't know, an acre of potatoes.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, I think we do about 15, 20 acres.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
with everything.
Yeah.
And then some cover cropping.
Yeah.
This was there's a couple acre field up here. That was wooded more or less. It kind of looked like that too, that we cleared off. It was kind of pasture. There's a horse farm down the road I get all this horse shit from, which is good, but it takes a long time for it to break down.
Uh-huh.
But you can see there's a mountain of it. This is about 1 year's worth.
Wow. You go a year that you utilized? Or a
No,
year's
this
worth
is
from them?
This is a year's worth of shit from them.
That's a lot of hay.
Yeah. A ton.
Yeah, that's many, many loads.
So I don't know, I'm kind of hoping to get it composted and broke down pretty well. Because I've run into, if I put too much on the field, it sucks all the nitrogen out of it. There's too much organic matter, there's too much carbon in it, and it steals all the nitrogen. Yeah, my cousin, he grows cow corn in this field up here. But this field is kind of all vegetables. Kind of the junkyard of stuff up here. But yeah, we normally grow brassicas up here, broccoli, cauliflower, quite a few Brussels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like growing Brussels sprouts. People really like them.
Fairly easy to grow for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never grown them.
See, the worst part's picking them in the fall. And it's cold out.
Yeah.
This got cover cropped in the fall. This got cover cropped, the bottom half of this.
Yeah.
Well, no, for most of last year.
Oh, I see.
But this, I picked more rocks out of this field. It's kind of, they just seem to keep growing.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
It doesn't stop. Every year I pick rocks and pick rocks and pick rocks, and it's getting a little better. You can see this ditch is, it's pretty much full of rocks from this field. And I kind of smoothed it up a fair amount too. It was a lot more wavy. Just going over it, it sort of levels it out eventually. Yeah, this was some like cabbage and broccoli and I don't know, stinks.
Yeah.
Smell it?
Does. Yeah.
I'm bioplastic.
Yeah.
I'm not certified organic.
Yep.
I've thought about it. A lot of things, pretty much everything we do is organic.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't grow organically is corn, I guess. I don't have a lot of desire to.
Right.
Not so much for the spraying end of it, more so for the fertilizer end of it.
Right.
I built a flame weeder last year.
Oh, yeah.
That goes behind the tractor for corn, and it actually worked pretty well.
Interesting.
This year.
Was it scary going through the corn with the torches?
The first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look back and you think you fried it all. It's all limp.
Yeah.
The next day you go back and the center keeps growing right out of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It took me a little while to figure it out, what to do. It doesn't take long to kill the weeds. You can move right along with the flamer. If anything, I get kind of more nervous about the propane tank hooked to the back of the tractor blowing up, but
Yeah, it's not exactly a
no, it's not bad. It's
comfortable
not as bad as I thought. This was storage carrots this fall. We had a pretty good crop out of there. I don't know exactly how much we got, but you can see the rocks.
Yeah.
I
pop up
go
big ones.
through and lift them. I don't have a harvester or anything. We just go through and lift them. I actually went through with a lawnmower and mowed the tops off and then lifted them, and we just dug them and put them in the barrels.
Yeah.
Which worked pretty well, really. And that's this field. It's kind of, this was a like I said, this was kind of a pasture, sort of, kind of looked like not quite as bad as the high side, but that's kind of more or less what it looked like. Yeah, it's been a lot, kind of trying to, not a lot, but it's been interesting kind of growing this little farm and like utilizing land that potentially couldn't be used for like bigger dairy farms in a sense, or a lot of like, you can grow a lot of food on a small chunk of land.
Yeah.
So,
What made you want to grow vegetables?
I don't know. I'd always kind of had a little, I don't know, like knack for it. My dad he always had a pretty good sized garden.
Yeah.
And he kind of was growing vegetables on a real small scale with the farm stand. And well, I kind of just sort of tried doing a little more, and I don't know, more and more and more, and the markets kind of followed it, and
You grew it, you could sell it, so might as well
Pretty
grow a little
much.
more.
and then last year hit, and I was wondering what the hell I was doing.
Did you have a lot of loss last year?
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't have any strawberries, corn, pumpkins.
Nothing?
No,
Oof.
no. And we didn't have any greens for 2 months in the summer
Holy moly.
because they all got destroyed from the flooding and rain and hail. Yeah, it wasn't great. We had the stuff in the greenhouses last summer,
Uh-huh.
and some of the fall stuff. We had a decent like store. Like our carrot crop was pretty good. The Brussels sprouts did all right. Some of the stuff that we planted kind of real late in the year, or that survived the hail. We had a hailstorm here is what really did a number. I think we would have
I
been
see.
all right if it was just rain,
Yeah.
but we had a hailstorm. This is another little section. I normally just like grow zucchini here
Yeah.
or something. Years in the past, we've just done like 3 plantings of zucchini here, and it does pretty well. We get a shitload of it. Enough where we're so sick of picking it. It's good. Zucchini, I try to get it as early as we can before everyone else has it in their gardens. And late.
Yeah.
If you can have it late in the summer, it sells really well. But kind of the middle of the summer, everyone has a garden, has more friggin' zucchini
Right,
than they
try
know
to
what to do
Try to
with.
sell it in August. And
Yeah, you can't. So if you can have it in like September, works
Yeah.
pretty well. Even the beginning of October, it all depends when it freezes, but yeah.
So is this all family land? What's that situation?
Yeah, it was, well, my grandmother's farm. It's been in the family for 6 or 7 generations. And when she passed, it's now in a trust.
Okay.
And, the grandchildren are the beneficiaries, and yeah, it's just through it. There's a vesting process, and
And it sounds like several of you are doing stuff on the land.
yeah, pretty much. My cousin does the dairy, and I've sort of diversified and started growing vegetables and doing the sugar and stuff.
Okay.
So
So you're doing the sugaring too, or is that somebody else in the family?
yeah, no, I am. Yeah, we have 700 or 800 tabs.
Oh, okay.
Nothing huge, but we make 300 or 400 gallons of syrup in the spring,
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
or try to.
Yeah.
We'll see how it
good
goes.
year, yeah.
It's just starting. It's running pretty good today.
I bet.
Yeah, we're gonna boil.
Yeah, last
This
night was
afternoon.
nice and cold, and it's 40s today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's pretty decent. We're gonna probably sooner than later fire it up. And
Yep.
hopefully boil for a little while and probably be at it again tomorrow.
Yeah. Tis the season.
Yeah. But it all runs down to the sugar house. We could go up there if you want.
Yeah, that'd be neat, actually.
All the sap runs to the sugar house, and there's a couple tree lines that are kind of their own thing, but
Uh-huh.
a lot of the equipment I have isn't here. I have a shed up the road from here
Okay.
that I try to keep most of it in the winter.
Uh-huh.
But for tractors, that's pretty much what I have. I do most of it with these 2 tractors.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes for some of the bigger fields, I'll rent a tractor and a set of harrows.
Yeah. From another farm? or-
Yeah, which doesn't work too bad.
This your rock scooping bucket?
Yeah, I normally have it on while I'm rototilling.
Yeah.
That way if you hit something, you back up and
Back up, scoop
dig it
up, move
out. This is the rototiller. It has the roller on the back. That makes that pattern.
on. Oh, that is not what I pictured it to be. Yeah, no, it's like a coil spring.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's kind of nice. It packs it down. It makes it so it makes a nice kind of bed, or it makes it a lot easier to work with. You can also control the depth with it really well if you don't want to till real deep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Holds it up.
Yeah. So that's kind of nice. A lot of this stuff I bought used.
Yeah.
I bought this used from a guy who, I don't even know what he had it for. It'd been sitting at his house for years. I gave him, I don't know, I think $2 or $3 grand for it.
Yeah.
So, same with this. A hemp grower had this lifter. I think I gave him $1,000 for it. It was pretty much new. They just wanted it gone. So a lot of this stuff I kind of try to just keep an eye on, like on the internet or places, and
Yeah.
some things are worth buying new for sure. But
Well, yeah, this is a fair, I mean, there's not a lot.
no,
There's not a lot to a lifter.
No, not really. Yeah, I try to keep most all this stuff in I have a shed up the road, but
Yeah.
it doesn't. I don't know. We use a water wheel transplanter to. Mainly, I plant garlic with it, plant onions with it. A lot of the other stuff, I don't use it a ton. I don't really like the thing. It's really hard to. By the time you set it all up, sometimes it's just you just go out there and plant the stuff. If you have a couple people,
You
you
could've
can.
been done.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you got for a crew?
Locals. There's me and Jackie, my girlfriend, and my folks are around some.
Yeah. How many do you typically have in a season?
Normally a couple high schoolers and 2 or 3 full-time people.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it's tended to be. High schoolers are really great. Most of them are really like smart kids. The trouble with it is they go back to school in the fall when there's
Yeah.
still a lot to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've looked into H2A a little bit, but I don't have a place to house them, so
Uh-huh.
that's my quirk with it. I think I would have them here yesterday if I had a good place to house them and stuff, but I don't.
Yeah.
Is my biggest thing with it. So
Housing's such a challenge for
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
right now.
No, it's so expensive in a sense. It's hard to justify it for me, especially because we're not. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not trying to wholesale a lot, so we're not like we're busy in the summer. It's a lot, you know. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but I just don't. I don't know. For now, I'm gonna get by with local help.
Yep.
It is what it is, really. So there's family and
Yeah.
there's enough people around most of the time.
That's
so.
good.
A lot of the time, I sometimes wish I could have someone. I do all the tractor work for the most part, and sometimes I wish I could find someone to do some of that, but it's hard too. I don't.
Just to lighten your load a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it works. I tend to have time for it. I've tried to mechanize some stuff to make it a little easier. Is the biggest thing.
Where do you think your bottlenecks are now?
I don't know. I could definitely use a bigger tractor to and have a bigger set of disc harrows. Would save me a ton of time.
So the ground prep.
Yeah, like ground prep. I don't know. As far as like seeding stuff, we grow a lot of greens, and I got to figure out like direct seeding and harvesting greens and make that a little more efficient in time. It's not a huge deal, but in time it could.
Well, it seems like you do quite a bit of greens.
Yeah, we do a fair amount. It's enough where I'd like to make it a little more efficient. But we'll see. I direct seed a fair amount of like lettuce mixes and stuff outside in the summer, and it works pretty well. That flame weeder has saved me a ton of time that I built, because I prep the beds and let them sit there for a week, and then I flame them off, and and plant them.
Mm.
Depending on the greens, most of them come up pretty quick, but sometimes you can flame right before they come up too.
What are you using for a seeder?
I just use an earthway.
Yeah.
Yeah, for pretty much everything.
Huh.
Which, like I said, that's kind of like my biggest like quirk, really, is. But I've had pretty good luck with it too. If they're simple and they're like really easy to use.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people not like the earthway, but
yeah,
if it's working,
it works. I don't know. I've looked into the Jang seeders. I don't know. I've talked to a few people that like them, and some people don't like them. I think for direct seeding greens outside, I'd like something to go behind a tractor. That flame weeder has also saved me a ton of time with like carrots too, because I'll make the beds a couple weeks ahead of time and really let everything come up, and I'll burn them off once or twice and then plant and burn off before they come up, and I hardly weed at all with them. And with that flame weeder, I can flame weed an acre like easily. It's not like a big deal.
what's the working width?
Well, it's pretty adjustable. You could do a 50-inch bed with it pretty easy. But it's also, I could add on to it. The one I built, it's called a row crop flamer. It's made more for like doing corn.
Mm-hmm.
I use it on the potatoes. I don't know. That thing has saved me a ton of time.
Was it a kit, or did you come up with it?
It was a kit, kinda. It was a kit from Flame Engineering.
Okay.
And I built the toolbar, the frame of it all, and built the hitch that goes on the 3-point hitch, and the stands so it sits nice, and I bought the tank. So it all came together. I had some time into it, but I think it was a fair amount cheaper than buying the whole unit.
Yeah,
from
I'm sure.
them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was worth it or not, but
By the time you add up all
no,
your time.
if you didn't have all the stuff to weld and cut and deal with the material and a nice spot to do it, you might as well just buy the thing. But yeah, no, that's a pretty nice piece of equipment, really. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I go back and forth with as far as like corn and pumpkins and like spraying them versus not spraying them.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
How far apart are your fields?
There's this down here, and then there's another field a couple miles up the road.
Okay.
Then we have another field. Yeah, there's a field probably right outside of town, and then there's one probably 3 miles up.
Okay, so you're traveling a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I travel quite a bit. Which part of me, it drives me nuts, but the other part, it's really nice to have some fields that aren't next to each other to rotate crops into.
That's a valid point. Yeah.
Like potatoes, I move them like a long ways away every couple years, and I don't have much for potato bugs at all.
You're lucky there.
Yeah, because I used to have them, I grew them in the same spot for a couple too many years, and it was miserable.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
So what are you looking forward to this coming season?
We are sort of at a little bit more of a standstill with building everything and just trying to make things more efficient and not adding on so much and just focusing on what we have. Just trying to do better with what we have, more or less, instead of trying to do more is my goal for this year. Is just to kind of make things more efficient and try to make it a little more profitable and
Focus on what you're doing.
yeah, and I don't think I'm going to go quite the diversity of crops this year. I'm going to stick kind of more to the staples. I'm going to do a fair amount more outside too.
Yeah.
As far as it goes. Peppers, I'm going to grow a fair amount of like sauce tomatoes outside. I never have enough of them. So I'm going to plant a shitload of them outside, and when we have them, I just put boxes of them at the farm stand, and they always sell. People love them.
That's
So
They're easy enough. You said you have grown them outside or no?
no, we always grow them in the greenhouses, and I just don't have enough room to like.
How are you gonna do that? You gonna weave them or cage them or?
Yeah, black plastic, and put stakes in,
Yeah.
and just weave like twine around them.
Yeah.
Is my goal, anyways.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
The next area we checked out was the sugar house, where maple syrup is made. If you aren't familiar with the process, here in Vermont, we tap maple trees, meaning we put a spigot connected to tubing to collect some of that sweet sap out of the tree. It then gets boiled down to concentrate it into the sweet mapley goodness we call maple syrup.
Yeah, this is it. We don't RO or anything.
Yeah.
Wood.
Said-
See, there's a pretty good charge of wood.
800 taps
Yeah.
and wood-fired arch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it has a steamway on it, a preheater. Yeah, it's all pretty. It's kind of some newer equipment, but it's fairly old school.
Oh, pipeline.
Yep, all pipeline. You can see it all runs down to here, actually. So yeah, I don't know, we make, like I said, try to make about 300 gallons
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
syrup. This is where all the sap comes in. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it just runs under the road, and it's all pipeline more or less.
Yep.
So, and then it comes into this tank. We pump it over to the bigger tank and start boiling. So, we can make about, I don't know, 3 gallons of syrup an hour or so, give or take, 2 to 3 gallons. Yeah, this is, so the sap kind of, it goes into that tank and then
Yeah.
just gravities
Yeah.
into the arch.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I don't know, it's a fun thing to do this time of year. I enjoy it.
Yep.
Going up in the woods, and I don't know, even boiling in here it's a pretty unique time of year. The smell of it all.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I just
everything,
caught a
and
whiff.
yeah.
It's
So, yeah.
it's a Vermont experience for sure. My hands hate working in the cold, so I have no interest in it, but I love the process.
Yeah. No, boiling, like when it's actually boiling, it's a good time.
Yeah.
I imagine there'll be quite a few people in and out of here this afternoon. Who knows? This is the 2 boils this year.
Okay.
But you can see, like, this is from last year, from start to finish.
Yeah.
You can see when it got cold spells.
Yeah, like
and it
this
really
is cold, and then it's like got warm, and you can kind of like see all the colors of it. This arch has a preheater on it, so it makes a ton of hot water from the cold sap going in, and it helps us like clean everything, and just helps keep everything kind of sanitary. Yeah, I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah.
The whole sugaring process is it's a lot, you know. In the early February, we go up in the woods and tap the trees and
Yep.
check all the lines, and then this time of year I don't know, it's like fixing leaks and getting the pipeline all like tightened up.
Yeah.
Takes a fair amount of time. This year, the coyotes or bear have just made a mess of it up in the woods,
Geez.
which it is what it is. It's worse this year than it's ever been. They just like bite, like they'll just like bite and just puncture holes in all the lines and stuff.
Yeah.
Gives me something to do, I guess.
Right behind the sugar house on the side of the road is the farm stand. Be sure to visit the website to see a visual representation of what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Well, it's a nice setup.
Yeah, it's not bad. This is the farm stand. It's not much. I'd like to build a new.
Well, it's nice that your sugar house is right next to your parking lot here. You're
Yeah.
open for visitors.
Yeah.
Picturesque little sap house. The listening audience is all over the U.S. So
Really?
a lot of people they're very unfamiliar with
Yeah.
the maple industry. So
Yeah, it's a pretty good part of this business, actually.
really, yeah,
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's something that I'd like to expand on in the
Yeah.
future, for sure. I don't want to wholesale a bunch, but we can definitely retail more than we're making. So
Hey, that's a good problem to have.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of farm. It's pretty empty right now.
Oh,
but,
of course, it's it's March.
Yeah.
That's a nice sign. I like that.
Yeah, thanks. A local artist painted it. I built the frame and
Yeah.
mahogany to go around it.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's worked out pretty well, to be honest. I built that bracket on that rock out there that it sits on in the summer.
Ah, yep.
Yeah, she made a logo for us and she painted that sign, and I'm gonna have her do a couple signs to go like down the road and up the road a little ways. I might even build the same kind of border out of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is mostly on the honor system. I built this little cash box.
Oh, that's pretty slick.
It's kind of, I don't know, it's nothing fancy, but it friggin' people can put their money in there and we can lock it so it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, it's also out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part, you know.
We're having
People be
wicked
looking
problems
for it.
with people ripping us off.
I bet.
And this is tough. It's like at the size where it's hardly worth manning it, but it's also, if you don't man it, it almost pays for itself to man it, because if you don't get ripped off all the time, it's worth it. If you can pay someone $15-20 an hour to sit here, it's like, takes one or two people to come in, and it's paid. I don't know. It's tough.
Almost a wash, but yeah.
Yeah.
Has the camera helped?
A little bit, but it doesn't. People don't seem to care.
Have you been able to catch anybody?
Not really, no.
Bummer.
I know. Some people, like, it's some of the people that come here or that have stole from us, like, you really realize, like, who they are eventually. If someone is here, I don't know. We're in and out a lot. If it's busy,
Yeah.
I man it or someone mans it.
Uh-huh.
Normally in the afternoons we'll come up and someone will man it. But
We'll hang around.
yeah, we do. You help people and kind of, normally from like 2 to 5:36, someone is here manning the place. Yeah, the goal is eventually to build a new farm stand and have a little bit, maybe carry a few other local products. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Not a lot, but maybe a few local meats. I don't know, maybe some local dairy products potentially.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, but enough to draw a little more.
So is your family still doing dairy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my cousin does dairy. Yep.
Do they do any, retail available stuff, or just shipping it?
No, he just ships it.
Yeah.
They ship to Cabot for the most part.
Yeah.
At this point in time. I know he's looked into doing a creamery of some sort, or bottling milk. Or
Yeah. That's not
changing it
exactly
up.
easy either, so.
No, I think there's a lot to it, but
Yeah.
also relying on one person to buy all your product is it's fine, but you're kind of at the mercy of them more or less.
Yep.
That's kind of why I don't want to get into wholesale. It's just like they kind of set the prices more than you, really.
Yeah.
Or you're just competing with these big guys, and at this point in time, I can't compete with these big farms that have a certain crop very mechanized that they can grow really cheap. There's just,
Right.
besides that, it's pretty good. You get a little time off in the winter.
Yep.
Not a ton. This winter I actually got a job this winter.
Really?
Yeah, I normally just do stuff and try to maintain and do all the stuff you don't do in the summer around here, but this year it just wasn't possible.
Yeah.
No.
Because you lost so much.
Yeah,
to
like
that
financially,
weather,
I went and did carpentry with a guy and
yeah.
worked most of the winter, which kind of sucked, but I learned a fair amount. It was pretty decent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Think of it that way too.
yeah, no, it was fine. It got us by.
Yeah.
It was just cold. It was freaking freezing.
Winter's not a fun time for
No,
construction.
and this winter wasn't that cold either.
No, yeah. So what's the future of McDonald Farm Stand? You planning to scale up, do much more, or kind of keep it as is, add a greenhouse here and there, expand, pick your own, you mentioned?
Yeah, I'd like to grow the retail business of it more or less. I'd like to expand the farm stand. I think potentially doing some more pick your own. I don't want to get too big too fast.
Yeah.
In a sense, kind of keep it manageable. Help's always an issue, it seems. So maybe eventually go to H2A if it does get big enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're on a busy enough road, really, where there is a fair amount of room for just expansion of this retail, more or less.
Yeah, I think so.
So, yeah, that's the goal anyways. Eventually I'd like to build a new farm stand and probably build some more greenhouses and kind of just add on and sort of maintain, you know, just kind of sustainably do it.
Right. What does sustainability mean to you? And what are you doing to achieve it?
Kind of just keep stuff at a scale that is kind of environmentally friendly and being able to just feed a community and people and not do harm to the earth in a sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it really. Just be where I'm not relying on a lot of other outsources to run the farm in a sense. You're always going to rely on some people, but just kind of have it be sort of like self-sustainable where it can be profitable enough for a family to kind of make a living on it. That's the biggest thing is life's not all about money, but you also have to live too, and the cost of living these days is not cheap.
Nope. Anywhere.
No. Between food and just housing and everything that's been the biggest thing with this farm is just trying to make it profitable enough to actually want to do it.
Yeah.
I love doing it, but at some point it's hard to work for nothing forever.
Yeah. I just want some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does, of course. I mean,
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Like the place, like it's, last year it didn't make any money, but the years in the past it's paid for itself. It's done okay. I don't really draw a ton out of it by any means, but we've built a fair amount too,
Right.
you know.
Right, you're reinvesting in it.
Yeah, so I'm hoping at
Systems.
some point that it can just become a little more profitable in a sense.
Right.
We'll see. I think it can, if the weather cooperates.
Do you always want to be a farmer?
Yeah, I kind of grew up doing it.
Yeah.
Do I always want to be, or did I always want to be?
Both. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I like the kind of peace of mind of it. You get to work by yourself a lot. It's working with the earth. It's peaceful. It's I don't know. You're doing good for the world in a sense.
Yeah. So do you ever see yourself doing a different career?
Maybe. Time will tell. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's hard telling. I'm still pretty young.
Right.
I've thought about it. I've thought about switching it up and doing something else, but once again, I like doing what I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I went to work for someone this winter and was like, yeah, I'm
a little
ready.
reminder.
Yeah, it was. It was actually a good reminder. Like, I enjoyed what I did, but it was like, yeah, I remembered why I kind of work for myself and do this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's good too. Yeah.
Working by the hour is hard.
Yeah, and there's still things you can do here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you've still got some plans.
Backhand switch.
If you had any advice for a farmer just starting out, is there anything you would share?
Yeah, you got to enjoy what you do. It's a lot of work, and I don't know. It's a learning process. Go see what other people are doing. See what other people have done, and kind of just take it all in. And
Did you visit
don't
a lot
get
of
too
farms?
big too fast. Quite a few, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as many as I wish I would have. To be honest, I wish I had worked for some other farms before I went out on my own.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see what other people do and how they do it and what equipment they use. And there's just so many things out there. It really there's just a ton of little like quirks and ideas and things that can make your life a lot easier real quick.
Right.
So I follow a fair amount of people on the internet too, like smaller farms that I don't know. Some of them I'm like, yeah, that's great. And other ones I'm like, yeah, that's just like bullshit you see on the internet too, you know.
Like, no.
It's
we're
not
doing it
all
right.
that fucking grand and perfect, and your gardens don't always look like that, and it's not the way it is. You see these like pictures on the internet and they're perfect rows with no weeds in it, and it's like, yeah, okay.
That's one corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel bad for someone getting into it.
Yeah, why is that?
It's just a lot to take on. It's not take on, it's just, once again, it comes back to like financially, it's tough, really.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not an easy path.
No, it's not. There's a lot of. I should say, grateful enough to not. Like, I didn't have to like buy this land in a sense.
Yeah.
If you were to go to and try to like buy land and build infrastructure and do it, I honestly don't really know how someone would do it without a ton of debt.
Yeah.
Especially with what land's done. But if you're fortunate enough to potentially have something or be able to use land somewhere that is fertile and well taken care of, it's a good way of living, really. It would be a struggle to start from the beginning on all this. To have to buy equipment and
Right.
I don't know. I think to do it on a real small scale would be kind of cool to start if you just had like a BCS and
Yeah.
like a couple acres and.
But still, even then, that's really hard because you're limited in size at that point. And it's like you got to sell a lot of spinach in order to,
Oh yeah.
feed yourself.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think finding a market's almost the most important thing with all this. Finding a market is almost harder than growing the product to me, and like marketing it and like trying to organize like delivering and all of it is almost more of a challenge to me than actually growing the product itself, I would say. That's why I wanted to develop the farm stand and the market so we have and fulfill the wholesale market, the few that we do really well, and just kind of keep it at a manageable scale and grow it as it comes almost. And I think eventually it will take off a little more than it has.
Yeah. Do you have more land that you could expand if you wanted to?
Yeah. I think there's
If you
land
find
around
it.
here. Yeah. It's, if anything, I would like more land to grow cover crops on.
Uh-huh.
I wish I had more land and better equipment to cover crop.
Rotate a little more.
Yeah, like I think ideally you'd cover crop a field for 2 or 3 years before you even plant on it. And then you're very low weed pressure, you have no like really disease pressure, it's just pretty kind of straightforward.
Right.
Your fertility's there, all of it. Where you start taking a lot out of fields, it's hard to get it back. But yeah, time will tell.
If people want to find and follow you, are you on social media, or where can they do that? Learn about your farm.
We have an Instagram page at McDonald Farm Stand. We have a website you can buy syrup at, McDonaldFarmStand.com. And we have a Facebook page too.
And that was the Farmer's Share. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Jacob as we toured the farm behind McDonald Farm Stand. The Farmer's Share is supported by a grant offered by the USDA Specialty Crop Block Program from the Vermont Agency of Agriculture, Food, and Markets. This funding helps to cover some of my time and travel in order to produce these podcasts for the next 2.5 years. The USDA Agricultural Marketing Service supports projects that address the needs of U.S. specialty crop growers and strengthens local and regional food systems. I have no doubt that this podcast will meet those needs and help educate growers to support the industry. This show also is supported by the Ag Engineering Program of the University of Vermont Extension. If you enjoy this show and want to help support its programming, you can make a one-time or reoccurring donation on our website by visiting thefarmershare.com/support. We also receive funding from the Vermont Vegetable and Berry Growers Association. The VVBGA is a nonprofit organization funded in 1976 to promote the economic, environmental, and social sustainability of vegetable and berry farming in Vermont. Their membership includes over 400 farms across Vermont and beyond, as well as about 50 businesses and organizations that provide products and services of all types to their members. Benefits to members include access to the VVBGA listserv, to buy, sell plants and equipment, share farming information, and tap the vast experience of our growers. Access the Community Accreditation for Produce Safety, also known as CAPS. This program is designed for growers, by growers, to help you easily meet market and regulatory food safety expectations. You can access the VVBGA's Soil Health Platform, where you can organize all the soil tests and create and store your soil amendment plans and records. Access to webinars for growers in the VVBGA annual meeting. An email subscription to the Vermont Vegetable and Berry newsletter. Camaraderie, enhanced communication, and fellowship among commercial growers. Memberships are on a per farm, per calendar year basis, and annual dues this year are $80. These funds pay for the organization's operating costs and support educational programs and research projects. These funds also support projects that address grower needs around ag engineering, high tunnel production, pest management, pollinators, produce safety, and soil health. Become a member today to be a part of and further support the veg and berry industry. You can visit thefarmershare.com to listen to previous interviews or see photos, videos, or links discussed from the conversation. If you don't want to miss the next episode, enter your email address on our website and you'll get a note in your inbox when the next one comes out. The Farmer's Share has a YouTube channel with videos from several of the farm visits. We're also on Instagram, and that's where you can be reminded about the latest episode or see photos from the visit. Lastly, if you're enjoying the show, I'd love it if you could write a review. In Apple Podcasts, just click on the show, scroll down to the bottom, and there you can leave 5 stars and a comment to help encourage new listeners to tune in. I'd also encourage you to share this episode with other grower friends or crew who you think would be inspiring for them. Thanks for listening.